I ended up doing the the hard moves in 5 moves in the end. Essentially, my original sequence was that of 6 moves. Yeah, so I actually changed my sequence quite a lot from the autumn season to this season. Mostly revolving around a low percentage right heel hook that felt like it put the ball slightly out of my court. Like, it felt incredibly random, mostly down to the integrity of a shoe. So then I opted for this method where I didn't use this heel and it was front on. And actually, I had actually tried this method initially, but hadn't really felt like I could keep the tension on the feet. The hands are like, they're crimps, but they're very slopey crimps, and I didn't feel I could keep the tension between the left hand and the right foot to be able to do the move that way. But it was like after some like pretty good attempts that when I was having like some troubles with the heels where like all my heels had gone, and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna like see what I can learn this session, and played around with loads of different options and realized that I'd kind of like equip myself with the necessary tools to do it in this method. So it's like a little more physical, but felt like I could be more reliable. It gave me more chances almost in a day, even if it was slightly more physical. So I ended up opting for this method, which doesn't revolve around the right heel.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well, let's play through it. So 6 became 5 moves. So it's very distilled, and now with the proposed grade is one of the hardest boulders in the world. So Spots of Time. I'm going to hit play here. Just talk me through it. Talk me through some of these moves.
Yeah, the crux, basically it revolved around the third move and the last move for me. And it almost felt like it broke down between 2 boulders. So sticking the third move was definitely the hardest move for me from the start. And then
that wide bump with your left hand.
Yeah, you kind of like make like an intermediate move to a left hand, and then the left hand move again, where you get wide. That is definitely like the move into that move there. Yeah, from the start, that always felt like really hard to maintain tension in a very like close drop knee on like quite vague opposition, and it just felt that move felt so different in isolation than it did from the start. Just because you get the hold.
Yeah, and I'm not able to really. I'm sorry to interject there. It's hard from here to see your feet because there's a little bit of a blocking boulder there. So what are your feet on as you're getting started on those initial moves?
So you put in like a very close drop knee that is like really like really near your hands, and the feet are quite close together, and the feet are very slick. So it's quite hard to maintain tension, and it's quite nuanced. You've got to maintain quite consistent tension, because any like jarring movements like would like cause like foot picks quite easily.
Right.
So yeah, definitely the themes of it were like, the real difficulty was the third move from the start. It kind of felt like it almost broke down into those 2 boulders of like doing the third move from the start. Once you get those holds, they were in opposition enough that you could kind of like, feels like you were in a place of stability. So it's not like you're having a rest, like they're pretty bad holds, but like it was like suddenly like you felt like once you got that hold, you were like in compression, so you could move your feet and you felt stable. And I think that was like, on the rest of the climb, everything feels quite unstable. And then that was where originally my sequence was 3 moves. So originally it was like a 3-move boulder into a 3-move boulder, and the third of each of them being like the crux. And so the slap to the lip is pretty physical, and feeling like I had the minerals from the start was definitely, I was aware was always going to be like a little bit of a limitation.
All right, y'all, just a quick break here to ask you a question. Do you do a lot of lead climbing like I do? If the answer is yes, you need to check out the Neox, which is this new belay device by Petzl. I just tried this thing out at the gym. I love how it works. It was designed with lead climbers in mind, and I got to say, it works great. You can think of it basically as a gree-gree. So it looks and operates the same, but there is some magic engineering inside of this with this little wheel that spins, and it allows you to pay out slack quickly and smoothly when belaying somebody on lead. Like there's like zero friction, which makes it very low impact on the belayer. It does not hurt your shoulders to be belaying for a while, and very easy on the climber to clip draws and not worry about getting short roped. And because it's Petzl, you know it's the best of the best. You can find your Neox at your local gear shop and just swing on over to Petzl.com to learn more and access the inaccessible. And then in this video here, which I think again you sent it in the next session, which I don't have that video yet, but you make the slap, your feet cut, and then is the intention to pull back in with a right heel hook to get your right hand over, or how did you complete after you make that left hand slap?
Yeah, once you do the left hand slap, like you could fall off. I always like kind of saw that slap as the last move. It is, you definitely could fall, but it's much easier. It's kind of like takes like 2 moves. So once I do that left hand slap, I put a toe hook up, bump further back around the lip into a crimp, and then you jump to the lip of the boulder, and it's like quite a satisfying jump, the last move, but like you'd hope not to fall there. And then like the mantle is relatively easy. But yeah, definitely that last move is it's relatively low percentage, but it actually just like it's quite powerful, the method I was using. Like I actually got to those penultimate holds twice last September, but and like kind of felt pretty close. Like I was like in my mind I was like, oh, like maybe I'm pretty close, but I tried it a lot at that time and was like very like dialed into the sequence. And when I was getting there, I was like, I could kind of see my like elbows were up, like I was like quite saggy, and you just there's no room to be like not firing on all cylinders on that move really. So it was definitely nice to see the winter's training bearing fruit.
Yeah, well, congratulations. It's such a pure seeming boulder problem in that it just looks incredibly hard, and the holds, to your point, seem quite difficult.